I'm going to go over the total cost involved in this entire project. I'm now more confident than ever that I have the cheapest CTS-V in the country. Good evening, everyone. Another video on the CTS-V here. So in the last video, we basically finished. I mean, the car is like basically 100%. Cosmetically, it looks fantastic. Mechanically, it's been awesome. As I mentioned in my last video, I sold my E55, my daily driver. So the CTS-V has been my daily driver for the past few weeks. And if you guys remember the list, I always have a list with these project cars. I was just about done with the exception of one thing: key fobs. And the way you program the key fobs on some of these newer GMs requires what is called the Tech 2. It's a GM scan tool that was developed in the late 90s. And as I mentioned, it was developed in the late 90s. So it's kind of extremely outdated at this point. Believe it or not, it's still like thousands of dollars from GM. You can get like a China knockoff for $300 or $400, but again, it's like using a Nokia cell phone. It's not that great. So I went on Amazon, grabbed basically one of the Autel or Snap-on knockoff scan tools that is what's called bidirectional communication, meaning you can send commands to the car and it can report back. You can turn different modules on, everything from door modules to window motors to BCM, body control module, tons and tons of stuff. But most importantly for me, it can program the key fobs. So for $350, I bought a really nice scanner that can do a whole bunch of other stuff for me in the future and also solve my fob problem. So let me show you my scanner. So here it is over on the workbench. Already got it opened up. This is the Autel Maxicom MK808. I'll leave a link for this in the description. So yeah, it looks and feels like the Snap-on one probably would. Got a little kickstand back here. Still haven't even taken the protector off the screen yet, but anyways, I mean, can do all sorts of stuff. To support immobilizer functions, that's what we need to do. Keys, obviously read and clear codes, live data, text, graphing, auto VIN detect, parking brake, steering angle sensor. Like I said, command a whole bunch of stuff, all for, got it on sale. I think it's normally $500. I got it for $350 or $375. I'm sure I have a lot to learn with this thing, but for now it should be relatively straightforward to get our keys set up. Let's get this thing plugged in, get it into the car, and get our keys programmed. All right, so here we go. Hot functions, remote function, actuation, program key fobs. Select the number of keys to be programmed. Got two of them, two key fobs. Press and hold lock and unlock buttons in the key fob when prompted by the tools. Takes 15. Okay, wait for data. Okay, there's one. Let's do this one. Okay, so lock's just cycled. That should be it, I think. These seem to be working. Let's turn this thing off, cycle the ignition key, and make sure they still work. All right, ignition's off. We're outside the car. Fob number 1 here. Lock. Press it again. All doors are locked. Looks good. All right, let's unlock. There's the driver door. Press again. Passenger door. Okay. All right, keys are working great. Even the trunk function, I checked that. Panic function. Yep, I think we're done. I literally have nothing left on this list. So throughout this whole series, we've been working on the car. We've done not as much driving. So let's get you guys some sound clips some driving clips, some, maybe some flybys. I'd also like to give a few of my opinions on the car, some things I don't like, some things I really do like, and overall daily driving impressions. Also, at the end of the video, I'm going to go over the total cost involved in this entire project. And I'm now more confident than ever that I have the cheapest Gen 1 or any Gen CTS-V in the country for what it is. So you guys are not going to want to miss that. I'll break it all down for you. First, we're going to go put some fuel in this thing, then we'll go for a drive. Real quick before we get some exhaust clips, because there's not a lot I don't like about this car, I figured we'd just go through some of the things that aren't as good as they probably could be. Can't all be good things, right? Boom, right off the bat. I mean, any of you guys who've owned a GM car from the late 90s to the mid to almost late 2000s, you know about the interior quality. I mean, this is all plastic. Just rattly plastic. Although this particular car doesn't rattle too much. Everything is plastic. Like I said, you GM guys know what I'm talking about. It's not awful, I guess, but I mean, definitely looks a little dated, feels a little dated. Could have done better there. Other kind of insignificant thing, but when you've been daily driving the car for a while, me personally, when I stop the vehicle, I oftentimes will leave it running and run into the store or whatever. I live in a good area where that's not uncommon to do. The driver's door does not unlock unless the vehicle is off. So the amount of times I've set the parking brake, left the transmission in neutral and gone to get out of the car and it's locked, you have to manually hit the button. Again, not that big a deal, but when you've been daily driving the car, it can start to get on your nerves. Kind of along the lines with the interior quality for 06, this car was pretty loaded. It does have nav. Okay, no it doesn't. Disc error. Maybe I forgot to put the disc in. Anyways, the navigation's totally outdated. This whole interface is kind of outdated. Right alongside with that, I love any car, and almost all of them do, have steering wheel volume controls. This car has, way to go through the menus here, even turn traction control off, and then cruise control. But no radio audio volume control. So if you want to change the volume in this car, you're doing it the old-fashioned way, turning it up on the knob. Again, none of this is the end of the world, but when you're daily driving something and you're kind of cruising down the highway, you just want to turn it up one little notch without moving your hands really at all. Can't do that in this CTS-V. Another thing that I've noticed when I'm driving to work in the morning with my coffee, forgot to bring a cup to show you guys, but if you put your cup holder, or you put your cup right here, in either one of these really, the cup is going to stick up to about here. You have to arch your arm in a way that gets over the shifter in order to shift it. Right in the way. You could never do something like this. You have to awkwardly kind of arch your arm and get up over it. Maybe they could have put them back here or more to the side or whatever, but these aren't exactly ideal unless you're drinking Coke cans or whatever, soda, then it might be all right. And the last thing I guess I'll say, I wrote down some of these things just so I wouldn't forget, because there really isn't a whole lot I don't like about this car. The last thing I don't like is the shifter. This is the OEM shifter. I believe the bushings were replacing it. It feels all right. A, it's kind of long. Could definitely use a short shifter in this thing. And B, this is, almost every manual transmission car that I've ever had, I've either put in or it's had a short shifter. This is what I don't like about any of those things. Any of the cars that don't have it, the amount of play in gear. There's nothing solid feeling about this. No positive click or engagement. I love that about short shifters. When you pop it into gear, it's a nice solid click. There's no movement afterwards. This is in third gear right now, and she's just wobbling around. So not a real positive manual transmission experience. It is smooth, fine for a daily driver, but it's probably one of the first mods I would do to a car like this. is some sort of shifter improvement. I believe Hurst makes one. I think Creative Steel makes one. Shifter could be better. But that's enough of that. Love this car. Let's get into some exhaust clips and some drive-bys. So now let's talk about the things that I love about this car. First one, right off the bat, the drivetrain. I mean, it's basically a C5 Z06 drivetrain. You got the LS6, and the T56 6-speed manual in a 4-door sedan. What else could you ask for? I mean, it makes over 400 horsepower in stock form. This one's got a cam, tune, intake, exhaust. It makes a lot of power. It feels super strong, super torquey. Love the exhaust we put on there. Sounds really good. It's got a mean chop at idle. Tons of power, pulls hard. Gear shifts are smooth. It's a 4-door Corvette, you know? It's awesome. 2, absolutely love the color. Stealth gray, I mean, you see it on the work trucks in the mid and late 2000s. It's okay, but you see it on this body, cleaned up with a nice set of wheels. I mean, this car just looks the part. I absolutely love that. I can't really comment on a stock one, but the handling of this thing on the coilovers with the big sway bars, the Michelin Pilot Sports, it's like it's on rails. Like I think I've said in previous videos, it's on par with, it's got to be on par with my Z06. It just, you know, you point it, it goes. I mean, everything's tight with the brand new steering rack. The car handles phenomenally. The interior is not bad. I mean, other than, like I said, some of the GM interior plastics, it is nice leather seats with the suede inserts is a nice touch. Also available in black and I think tan, as we messed up the floor mats. The sunroof is nice. It works great. Nothing's really broken in this car. Everything works. Windows, sunroof, radio, navigation. Once I put the disc in there. The biggest thing for me is it's fun to drive. I've been driving this car every day for the past few weeks and I've been having a blast. You know, I look forward to my commute in the morning and at night. I get out of work and I can't wait to just rip this thing home. It's a lot of fun, and that's what it's all about. You know, enjoying, you know, not getting to the destination, but, you know, getting from A to B. You got to enjoy it. So very, very fun car to drive. I know these cars have a loyal following, and I see why now. They're just a lot of fun to drive. Very unique, pretty rare, especially especially in stealth gray. I mean, it gets looks. I get a lot of compliments at gas stations and stuff, and it's been a really good experience. But let's get back to the garage and talk about numbers. Well, what does it cost to have a CTS-V like this? What does it cost me specifically to have a CTS-V like this is probably the better question here. Because we all know I got a great deal on this car off the side of the road. Not a deal you get every day, but here we are. So let's go through exactly what I have into this thing. You see right in front of you right here. Awesome running and driving, clean title, 83,000, just rolled over 83,000 original miles, 2005 CTS-V. With the LS6 and the 6-speed manual. So let's get into it. So I keep a spreadsheet of just about every vehicle I purchase, most of them anyways, to keep track of what I have into them. So let's just go through what I have into this thing, and then you guys can make your own assessment of the kind of deal I got. So if you remember, we paid $5,000 for this car. The key fobs, the first thing I bought, ironically, and the last thing that we just did, plus the title, the fee to title the vehicle in my name, $45. Put a new battery in it, it's $160. Inner fender liner, $39. Oil change, synthetic oil change, $24. The emblems and the splash shield on the bottom, $140. Exhaust stuff and the paint that we use to repaint the rear bumper and the door handle, $173. The new rack and pinion after core exchange was $235. Transmission fluid and gear oil for the rear end is $25 because I already had some on the shelf there. Sway bar end links, $31. Floor mats and the yaw sensor that we didn't even end up needing was $180 combined for those two. Stepper motor, which we also didn't end up needing, and that high pressure power steering hose, $60. The mass airflow sensor from Amazon, and I also got a new set of lug nuts in the trunk that I still haven't installed, because these ones have a little bit of corrosion on them. $64, which is a grand total in parts of $1,176. So that would bring us to $6,176. But if you remember in the first video, this car came with a few different parts. The most expensive of which was 4 brand new Yokohama tires, which as far as I can see, this car doesn't need. It's the Michelin Pilot Sports seem to be totally fine. So we sold those for $700. The car also came with a whole bunch of creative steel bushings and subframe mounts and motor mounts and all this other stuff that it already has that we didn't need. I guess the owner was just keeping them as spares. We just sold all that stuff for $500, which brings our net parts investment in this car to negative $24. So grand total that we have into this awesome running and driving, clean title, 2005 CTS-V, finished in beautiful stealth gray, is $4,976. Not too shabby. So that's it. That's what I've got into this thing. Just under, or basically at $5,000. We'll call it $5,000 for various shop supplies and whatever else. But this is what we got into this awesome car. I could not be happier with this car. I could not be happier with this deal. Obviously, we all know from the very start that it will be very hard to find another 2005 CTS-V in this condition for $5,000. If you do, definitely buy it. I said it in the second video and I'll say it again, this has got to be the cheapest CTS-V in this condition ever, even before COVID pricing. So very fortunate to have gotten this deal, very fortunate to have been able to fix it up and bring you guys along for the ride. I really hope you've enjoyed watching me bringing this thing back to life. As I mentioned, it's currently my daily driver. I'm going to continue to drive it until I find myself another project, which I may have already found and may or may not be right next to me here. So I hope you guys are there for that one. I hope you're there for more episodes on the 1969 Camaro, which I'm also currently working on. Got more stuff coming for the twin turbo 2008 Z06 as well. Appreciate all you guys watching, commenting, subscribing. I try to get to as many comments as I can. I really appreciate you guys are getting involved in the video. So I'm gonna stop talking. We'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks as always for watching. We'll see you then.